Welcome back to Offbeat Gyan. I am Deepa and today's video is on restoration comedy or comedy of manners. English comic plays which were written from the period between 1660 to 1710 fall into the category of restoration comedy or comedy of manners. Now, the Restoration was a very important political, social, and historical event in English history. What exactly is the Restoration? The Restoration refers to the return of monarchy in England after a period of nearly 11 years. That is, from the period between 1649 to 1660, no kings or queens ruled over England. In 1649, King Charles I of the Stuart dynasty had been executed after his defeat in the English Civil War between the Royalists and the Roundheads. So, after the execution of Charles I in the year 1649, England became a protectorate and it was ruled by Oliver Cromwell, who called himself the Lord Protector. So England was under Puritan rule for this period. Now this was a period when a strict moral code, a strict and disciplined form of religious form of Christianity was imposed upon England. As soon as the protectorate was enforced, all theatres were closed in England. Across England, all the theatres, all the playhouses were closed. Drama was banned in England. All forms of entertainment came to a full stop. In 1660, the people of England invited Charles II, who was in exile in continental Europe, to return to England and take over the English throne. So, monarchy was restored to England in 1660. That is why it is called the Restoration. And with the restoration of monarchy, with the return of Charles II of the Stuart dynasty as the King of England, there was a revival in the fortunes of English drama also. It is also referred to as a period when English drama underwent a renaissance. Because Charles II was a man who loved the good life. He was somebody who promoted science and society and culture, open-minded, he was secular, and he was something of a man of a skeptical bent of mind. So his open-mindedness, his attitude, his cosmopolitan attitude was in a large manner responsible for the revival of the fortune of English drama. Most of the plays that were written during this period, they were realistic, they were anti-sentimental, and they satirized the follies and foibles, the vanities, the pettiness, the vulgarities, the coarse behavior of English society, of men and women, especially members of the upper class English society. The drama of this period depicted, questioned, challenged, and commented on English society. It made fun of the weaknesses, the moral weaknesses, and the petty vanity, the disgraceful behavior, the greed, lust that was prevalent among people of the English society of that time. And English society of the Restoration era was actually quite degenerate, and there was a lot of coarseness in social behavior. This period comes immediately after the Puritan period, when a very strict moral and religious code was enforced on the people. All kinds of freedom was restricted during the Puritan period. So during the Restoration period, everybody sort of went overboard, and all caution was thrown to the winds, and what was happening in society was reflected in literature also, and it was reflected in the dramas which were performed during this period. The most prominent themes which figured in all the English comedies were those of greed, false pride, cheating, immorality, indecency, and deception. the writing was actually very lacking in quality. It was not good writing. It could not be compared to the plays which were written during the Shakespearean period. Vulgarity was openly displayed on stage, and these plays aroused a sense of disgust. And Charles too himself was someone who encouraged the use of sexually explicit language, so it naturally found its way into the literature of the period and the plays which were performed during this period. And the degeneration in standards was so profound that Reverend Jeremy Collier, he wrote an essay called The Short View of the Profaneness and Immorality of the English Stage. Now, this essay was published in 1689, and it sort of arrested the moral corruption which characterized the Restoration drama of this period. Who were the important Restoration playwrights or dramatists? They were William Wycherley, William Congreve, George Etheridge, a female playwright, Aphra Behn, then Sir John Vanbrugh, and George Farquhar. Now, this was also the period when women actors made their entry on stage. During the Shakespearean period, it was young boys whose voice had not broken who used to enact the female roles. But with the arrival of the extremely sophisticated and cosmopolitan King Charles II, women actors made their entry into the stage. They started performing on stage. Naturally, this aroused a lot of public interest, and people thronged the drama theatres to watch women actors perform. One of the most famous, in fact, a Restoration era celebrity of this period was Nell Gwyn, who was referred to as Pretty Witty Nell by the very famous and very important diarist of this period, Samuel Pepys. So, more than being famous as a comic actress, she was the first of the comic actresses of the Restoration period. She became more famous as the mistress of Charles II and the mother of his two sons. Anyway, with that, we come to the conclusion of this very short video on Restoration comedy, or the comedy of manners. Once again, a short recap. Comedy of manners refers to the anti-sentimental, realistic, satirical drama which was written during the Restoration period from 1660 to 1710. So I leave you with this, and will follow up with another video on William Congreve's play The Way of the World. So please keep tuned and wait for my next video on The Way of the World. Thank you.